It is having an impact. It's quite difficult to do, is what we're discovering, because it's a whole new way of aligning two groups that didn't necessarily work in an integrated fashion before. But we're very encouraged with the results we're getting, and we think the kind of the end-to-end solutions that we're going to be able to bring farmers by bringing technologies together in an integrated way on the front end, and collecting the data required to see what we can bring of that is going to be pretty valuable. So we're quite excited about it, and it's having a pretty solid impact to date.
What are some of those efforts? Can you give me an example of how some of those efforts?
Sure. If you think of one of the things we're looking real hard at would be fusarium head blight, for example, which is pretty relevant in this geography here in southern Manitoba and on our home farm, for example. And I don't believe we're going to see something like that have a silver bullet come out of the blue and be the solution. You're probably going to need to look at your genetics. You're going to need to be able to combine it with the best seed care product available. You're going to have to think about your rotations and other agronomic practices, as growers do, and possibly bring in a foliar application as well. You can see there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, and I would refer to that as an integrated solution. And to really hammer that out, you need to be doing the research and collecting the data in that fashion. So I think that's an example of a good integrated solution, which isn't necessarily dependent on one component. Absolutely. Syngenta sees that as very basic and fundamental to the growth of the cereal sector. We've heard about private-public producer partnerships in the past, and sometimes something comes of it, oftentimes not. We're finding now that it's absolutely critical with the changes within the industry and the integrated solutions we're trying to work on that we just talked about. We can't bring all the pieces of puzzle together ourselves. We don't have them all within our kit. So we're relying on other people and what they can bring to the table to be part of that integrated solution. And so that lends itself very nicely to collaborations that you're referring to.
Anything on the horizon that we can be shared at this point?
Well, we have a lot of collaborations we've been doing. I mean, this isn't new to Syngenta. Right. We've been doing a lot of collaborations at a global level, and those are well publicized. CIMMYT a couple of years ago on a global scale, which is a real solid relationship. We've had ones recently announced in Argentina as well as Australia, a barley deal. So there's different organizations tag teaming and putting resources together where it makes sense. But we also have a lot of activity in Western Canada as well. We've been doing collaborations on the crop protection side for a number of years with competitors and channel partners. So it's quite the norm there. On the seed side, there's getting to be a lot more activity as well, and we're very active there. We are very much engaged in discussions with some of the public institutes to be part of some of the things you're hearing of now, the Wheat Flagship and different initiatives. First of all, a strategic crop to Syngenta means you're one of 6 exclusive, a pretty exclusive club. You're going to get a lot of attention. You are going to get the resource. And we've decided that, we're going to make investments here to make a difference. As mentioned earlier, doing this integrated type of research is a lot more difficult and expensive. But we think the results will be well worth it. So it takes a lot of resource, and being a strategic crop means we're going to get the resource to do that. So that's very important. In terms of what's required to continue to attract that kind of investment from a company like Syngenta, well, first of all, we want to have some sort of predictability in the registration system. We want it science-based, of course. That's no surprise there. And then once we're able to get products onto the market, we want to be able to protect our intellectual property. I think that's only fair, and growers, for the most part, accept that and see that as a necessity. So those two things right there are pretty critical, the regulatory system, the intellectual property, and if you can put those two together, it's a pretty attractive market. Strategic crop, and Canada is an attractive market for that strategic crop for Syngenta. Well, we've got a lot of great experience and expertise already, behind our effort in bringing new varieties to Canada. Syngenta has been breeding wheat in North America for half a century, and in Canada, actually, unbeknownst to a lot of people, for almost 4 decades now. So that's a long time, demonstrates, I think, a pretty good commitment. Mm-hmm. But when you take that expertise, which, and there I'm referring to our breeders, who have been doing it for their careers, start tooling them up with some biotechnology tools such as the markers, so we can find that needle in the haystack and eliminate what we don't want, and then supplement that with double haploid work, which means we're stripping literally years and years out of the period of time it takes to get a product to market. Put those two things together, hand it over to these expert breeders, and you start seeing the magic.
Can you give me your layman's explanation for how the double haploid technique benefits breeders?
I will certainly try to do that. Sure. I mean, what you're doing is you're trying to find a genetic package that you want, mm-hmm. and you want that established and to become a variety. You're doing generations and generations to try to get it stabilized so that it's uniform, genetically uniform. You don't want in your field of wheat to have off types, and even though it's the same, from the same parents, to be very different. So you're trying to stabilize that, and that's what you're able to do with the double haploid, is stabilize the line and very quickly go from here to here. This is the line we want. Now let's start blowing up or multiplying it, as opposed to taking a number of iterations before you actually get to that pure stabilized line. We're really excited at Syngenta with the hybrid program. We're right on track. We're very encouraged with the results. We've had lots of learnings here, and we're leveraging lots of learnings from our hybrid barley program over in Europe. So making good progress, excited about it. We're looking at the end of the decade for when we're going to introduce that. And the benefits it brings to growers, of course, there's some heterosis, gains in yields. Those need to be put in perspective, because right away, again, people will think, oh, here's the silver bullet. There's tremendous gains there, but the real benefit, of course, as well, that people may not realize, is just the consistency that you get with the hybrid product. You take that consistency and you kind of combine it with the integrated solutions we spoke about, which can also work to take the peaks and valleys out and give you some consistency, is a good thing. The people we're selling our Canadian wheat to want a consistent product. They require that for their processes. So that's what we're hoping we're going to be able to improve on.
Excellent. Anything else we can look for in the pipeline coming in the next couple of years?
We've been talking a lot about our genetics investment, and it's tremendous. Globally, Syngenta is putting, in the order of, 130 million into cereals, wheat and barley research. That's not just genetics, that also includes the crop protection products. And on that front, we continue to invest, and we're well known for that piece of the business here in Western Canada. And we are launching next year, actually, a new product, Cruiser Max Vibrant Cereals. So it's a seed treatment product, and combine that with a new variety we're bringing out, SY985, a Syngenta branded CPS red wheat. It's a nice combination, so we're really excited about that. That's all for the spring of 2013.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for sitting down with me today, Norm. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.